NBC10 at Issue starts now.
I'm Lauren Make. NBC10, Telemundo 62, and our parent company, Comcast NBCUniversal, are proud to support community engagement, next-generation storytellers, and youth education and empowerment. Since 2018, NBC10 and Telemundo 62 have given out more than $1.7 million in local impact grants to deserving nonprofits in our area through the annual grants program. On this special edition of NBC10 at Issue, we'll be profiling the 2025 recipients. Joining me now for an overview of the NBCUniversal Local Impact Grant Program is Gwyneth Gaul, the Vice President of Impact and Inclusion for Comcast. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So this is a program that is in place in the 11 NBC and Telemundo-owned television station markets. Tell me how it works.
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity for us to really partner with our local stations. And so it's one of those ways in which we can really engage our audiences and our communities where we live and operate. And so we work with our local stations. They then engage with a competitive grant application process and are able to select organizations in their local communities to receive grants. It's an incredible way to identify organizations in their local communities to receive unrestricted funding and to get closer to their communities where they operate.
Tell us about the categories of the nonprofits that the program recognizes, and why is it important that you recognize these different groups?
Sure. So the three main categories really align around youth education, storytelling, and community engagement. And so it really then, I think, allows the stations to engage in communities in diverse different ways. And so when we think about youth education, we think around after school programs, both in and out of school. We think about STEM education and entrepreneurship. We think about storytelling and really creating that next generation of storytellers and journalists behind the camera, on the camera. And so incredible opportunities there in communities. And community engagement, really opportunities just to engage with nonprofits that are supporting the community writ large. And so just great opportunities in alignment with the broader community engagement programs at Comcast. And so again, just opportunities for our local stations to really get closer to the communities that they serve.
And we're highlighting some of the groups that got these grants this year.
Yeah.
But for folks who may be involved in their community and watching this and thinking, hey, I've got something that maybe deserves some recognition and also some financial recognition as well, will there be opportunities for them next year?
Absolutely. So this is an annual program that we run in partnership with our stations. And so next year there will be another opportunity. And so there will be a call for proposals, and our local stations will run a competitive application process. There's always many applications for review, and they work with their community, and they have a competitive review process, and they'll make selections again next year. So there will absolutely be another opportunity for selection.
All right, something for folks to be watching out for.
Absolutely.
Gwyneth Gaul, thank you so much for your time and for taking us through this program.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Helping the uninsured get the care they need before a medical issue becomes critical. That's the mission of another one of our NBCUniversal Local Impact Grant recipients, the Cherry Hill Free Clinic. NBC10's Erin Coleman has more.
Good morning.
Sherry Townsend considers herself lucky.
They're amazing. How's the cough? It's still persistent.
She found what she calls her saving grace, the Cherry Hill Free Clinic.
I knew I needed medical attention. I don't have insurance. Where else can we go without paying at least a couple $100s just for a doctor visit to get a prescription?
This visit won't cost her anything.
How's the schedule looking like?
That's because most of the people you see working here are volunteers, donating their time to help those in need.
They're nurses, they're doctors, they're individuals that have regular jobs. Some of them are ER physicians that work overnight and come in the morning to see our patients.
The clinic is the brainchild of founder and CEO Dr. Jabril Oyeyemi. He saw his first patient here 8 years ago after hearing the same story over and over again.
It would be a case of life happened, I lost coverage, couldn't afford the doctor's office visit, and so now I've run out of meds. I've rationed my meds to the point where I've run out, And now I'm sitting in front of you with a second heart attack, a second stroke, all because I didn't have access to $4 medications.
Now people come from all over the state for primary care and nearly 24 other specialties for free. That's why NBCUniversal named the Cherry Hill Free Clinic a recipient of one of their local impact grants.
It lets us keep our doors open wider than it even is right now. And we just believe really firmly that everyone deserves access to health care.
Everyone, including Sherry Townsend.
I just recently moved in with my son because I can't even afford rent and I have a full-time job. Finding this place has been an absolute blessing.
A blessing and a beacon of hope to those with health issues. Erin Coleman, NBC10 News.
Another winner of an NBCUniversal Local Impact Grant is the Down Syndrome Association of Central New Jersey. And joining us now is the president of that organization, Joellen Boyd. Thanks for taking some time to speak with us.
Thank you for having us.
So first of all, just tell us about your organization and the work that you do for those with Down syndrome.
Certainly. So our organization started out as a support organization for families whose children and, older adults had Down syndrome and needed resources and support. And then about 5 years ago, we were able to open an achievement center called Club Dreams. And at this center, we support individuals with all special needs by providing a safe space where they can explore their passions, fun, they can learn things, hang out with friends, and it's a very supportive environment that they feel comfortable coming to.
So the money from the Local Impact Grant will go toward your organization's programs. Have you been able to put any of the money to use yet, or do you know in what way you plan to use it?
Yes, we have actually started implementing some new programs. Recently, we reached out to the National Down Syndrome Society that they do a program called 321 Go Fit, which encompasses a whole wellness plan, healthy snack, healthy tips for wellness and exercise. We also just recently, a chapter in Princeton was started for Buddy Up for Life tennis. So we are working with them to have some tennis clinics and tennis programs for our members with Down syndrome.
Tell me how winning this grant affected your organization. What did it mean to your organization?
This is incredible. As an organization that basically survives on grants and fundraising to be able to keep our programs at no cost, a very low cost to members so that they can participate, it's invaluable.
And I understand you have a personal connection to Down syndrome as well. This work is very personal to you. Tell us about your daughter.
So my daughter, Rebecca, is 21. She just turned 21. And she's the reason I got involved in this organization when she was born. And I was very lucky. We had a group of families of all similar ages who have kind of grown up together. And it was, for me, very important to have people in a similar situation that we can bounce things off of and ask, what worked for you? What should we be doing? And that was kind of the basis for us doing Club Dreams as a board, because we wanted all families to have that experience. When they bring their kids for a program, the parents tend to kind of gather and talk, and it's just a great opportunity for them.
All right, Joellen Boyd, the president of the Down Syndrome Association of Central New Jersey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
About 40 miles away in Westchester sits a farm, but it's not just a regular farm. The barn at Springbrook Farm is dedicated to using animals to help children with disabilities. They're one of the winners of the 6 local 2025 NBCUniversal Local Impact Grants. Here's a look at the work they're doing to change kids' lives.
In the deep lands of Westchester lies a barn that serves a greater purpose than just housing animals. The barn at Springbrook Farm is a sanctuary for children who face physical, cognitive, and/or developmental disabilities.
We provide nature-based and animal-assisted activities for children with disabilities ages 2 to 17.
Executive director of the nonprofit, Jeanette Corgnati, says children are encouraged to feed, groom, and walk the animals in order to work on nonverbal, verbal, and motor skills. What gives them confidence is the bond they make with the animals.
Children and adults alike, when they are surrounded by animals, their blood pressure kind of goes down and there's a warmth and a comfort level there, and they will open up in ways that they normally wouldn't.
Can I have some crackers? Good job. There you go. You can have some crackers.
Activities and bonds that have helped children like 14-year-old Jack Einan, who is on the autism spectrum, intellectually disabled, and has a seizure disorder.
These are activities of daily living that you and I take for granted, but they need help and practice. And this is a great place to do that. I'm gonna eat this. As you can hear.
Jack and his mother Jen discovered the barn just 6 months ago and say it's been life-changing. The barn began as a dream of Mary Beth Drabish in 2005. She turned her vast land into a fully handicapped accessible facility for children, merging her love for animals and the youth. They helped serve 477 children last year. In this 17-acre farm, they house 18 animals. Their criteria, gentleness. This organization, one of its kind in the greater Philadelphia region. For their efforts, they were awarded more than $20,000 from the NBCUniversal Local Impact Grants. That money will go toward their volunteers, programming, and scholarships for families who cannot afford their help. It's a grant that can help the barn continue to help those most in need.
Out of their neighborhoods and onto the water. Ahead, the local organization that is helping Philadelphia students expand their horizons and push their boundaries, one stroke at a time.
This is NBC10 at Issue.
We're back now as we continue our look at the past year's recipients of the NBCUniversal Local Impact Grants. Philadelphia City Rowing got a $40,000 grant award. It's an organization that is helping Philadelphia public school students branch out and try new things by taking them out of their neighborhoods and onto the Schuylkill River. NBC10's Miguel Martinez-Valle has more on how they're helping students transform their future.
Discipline, teamwork, and perseverance, all skills that make a good rower. But at Philadelphia City Rowing, they're not just focused on developing athletes. When they're on the Schuylkill River, they're also trying to make good citizens.
Rowing is really, really hard on your body, just like physically, and it can also be really hard mentally. And if you can break that mental barrier of like, oh, I'm able to do more even when my body hurts, that's a skill that you can take into so many aspects of life that aren't rowing.
Michaela Donnelly, an alumni of PCR, is now one of the coaches helping grow the sport for new generations. She, along with many of the athletes, never thought about rowing as an option before joining the free organization.
Before I came in, I didn't even know rowing was a sport. I was like, oh, I'm not doing this. I'm not getting out on the water.
Now King thrives on the river.
Free programs like this are just like a necessary part of the community. You know, it allows people who could potentially be the best that's ever been to come on and actually try and see what they've got.
And while the organization has had teams compete in regattas and go to nationals, it's their stats out of the water that are most impressive. An 100% on-time graduation rate for club seniors and 98% college attendance rate according to club leaders.
Philadelphia City Rowing's been launching futures on the Schuylkill for 15 years, and in that time, they've seen more than 5,000 students come through the program. They're hoping to keep expanding that impact going forward.
We're going to purchase a couple new boats to expand our fleet so we can serve more kids, and then just really trying to build our internal capacity with staff in terms of training and making sure we have enough coaches.
The $40,000 NBCU Local Impact Grant will help with that growth, so teens like King can expand their horizons and plan next steps.
I would definitely row at Temple because I visited their boathouse. It's just so nice. They have these new boats. They have all this tech. It's just something I'm ready for my life to get into.
With the org as their coxswain, more Philly students will be able to drive towards a brighter future. Miguel Martinez-Valle, NBC 10 News.
Still ahead, stimulating the creativity of young people. Ahead, we'll tell you about a local organization that provides youth with education, recreation, and an outlet for their artistic abilities.
This is NBC10 at Issue.
Another one of our recipients of an NBCUniversal Local Impact Grant is the Westchester Community Center. And joining me now is Ken Winston, the Executive Director of the Center. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First of all, for folks who may live in the area and have heard of your group before, but heard about it under a different name, the name has changed recently.
Yes. Well, we were so from 1918 to 2005, we were the Westchester Community Center. And then in 2005, that particular board changed the name to Charles A. Milton Arts and Education Center, which we thought was too long and really didn't say where we were. And arts and education was big back in 2005. Now we're just a community center.
All right, so that's how people can find you. So tell us about the work that you do.
Well, the staff at the Milton Center, including me, we do after-school program. We have like a acronym CARE: civics, arts, recreation, and education. So we do civic work, like voting. We do arts, like after-school program, and arts through that program. We have a daycare. We have recreation programs, basketball, pickleball, and other sports programs.
Okay. So the grant that you were awarded is worth more than $50,000. Tell me how that money is going to be used, or maybe you've already started putting it to use.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Lisa Morris, who wrote the grant for us. She's our developmental director. She couldn't make it today. But that money will be used to give our after-school program kids an opportunity to take trips, maybe come here, to do activities, to go on STEM events and things like that. Okay. So it'll expand our youth's opportunities to do some social trips and things like that.
Yeah, expand their horizons, get them to see new things. For groups who may be thinking, hey, should I apply? Is this worth doing? What would you say to groups about sort of what the impact has been on your organization and why they may want to consider it?
Well, as you said, $50,000 is a great deal of money. It's a larger grant for an education program. Obviously, building and grounds is usually get bigger, but it just allows you to. First of all, I would apply, and it allows you to do things that you wouldn't normally do with our students. So and also, sometimes you have to get costs that are not built into. Mm-hmm. So it compensates for that.
What's your hope for what the impact your organization will have on young people?
Well, we call ourselves the lighthouse of the East End. The East End is the lower socioeconomic part of Westchester. There is a lower socioeconomic part of Westchester. And we are, for the students, I say the least, the last, the left out, and the left behind, that's the type of individuals that we're looking to work with. So we have like NA meetings and AA meetings and after-school programs that are affordable. We have housing now. We have 51 apartments that you may not know. So we want to be working with the Good Samaritans in the neighborhood.
All right. Ken Winston from tell me the new name again?
Westchester Community Center.
Westchester Community Center, for folks to remember that now, your organization. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
I love it. And if it wasn't here, I guess I wouldn't have much food.
Straight ahead, we'll shine a light on another recipient of an NBCUniversal Local Impact Grant, a place that's become a lifeline for those experiencing food insecurity. That organization's story after the break.
This is NBC10 at Issue.
A local impact grant is helping people in the community suffering from food insecurity. We stopped by the Upper Marion area community cupboard in King of Prussia. That organization delivers food, resources, and personal items. And as our Keith Jones explains, NBC10 and Comcast have delivered some help.
Shopping carts? Check. Food?
just picked yesterday.
Check.
And maybe we'll do a pepper.
And a smile.
Thank you.
Check. Sandy Zell knows in life,
there we go,
you sometimes need a helping hand.
Oh, this is great. This is like a blessing.
That's why she's been coming to the Upper Merion area community cupboard for a year now.
I love it. And if it wasn't here, I guess I wouldn't have much food.
Really? Is
honestly.
it as simple as that?
Yeah.
Wow, so it's a godsend.
It is. Yeah, I love it. I love them. I think it's great work they're doing. I hope they stay.
Because the cupboard survives month to month.
One of these meals.
There you go.
They're grateful for their 300 volunteers and rely mostly on donations.
You're doing good?
Pantry manager Angela Michaels says it's a challenge in Montgomery County.
When you have higher rents and mortgages, people have to kind of decide, do I pay my rent or do I buy food?
That's why NBCUniversal named the community cupboard a recipient of one of their local impact grants, ensuring the cupboard, which also gives out personal items, survives to the end of the year.
We're working on trying to get turkeys and hams and meals for our families for Thanksgiving. So it can't come at a better time.
Allowing people like Sandy to continue shopping with dignity.
The place is wonderful. The people are great, as you can see. And they're not just faking it for the camera. Okay, they're very, very good people and they help us.
Keith Jones, NBC10 News.
That does it for this edition of NBC10 at Issue. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.